Hello.
Good
Hi,
morning.
Ida. Morning.
Hi.
How are you?
Okay,
Okay.
good. Yeah, we're all ready to go.
Okay.
Okay, just give
Ready
me
to go.
5 minutes.
So, morning, everyone. Welcome to the Substation Alternative Voice online series. Alternative Voices online series. I'm Wendy, and in this series, we will speak to four different artists who will share their work in supporting alternative voices in the community. So last week we have Grace and Shankar. For those who missed it, it's still available on our Facebook page. And today we are very honored to have Aida Redza with us. Hello.
Hi. Wendy. We were rather
I mean, uh,
nervous to start up, and this
yeah,
is the
yeah,
first time meeting Wendy. And I mean,
yes.
we met, and so nice to be invited to start up Sunday morning together with you.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, usually Sundays for me is class time at 10 o'clock to 11:30 from Spice
Right.
Garden. So today, especially for you all, I kind of like rearranged that, and then
Oh, nice. Oh, what Spice Garden? What Spice Garden you
Tropical
talking?
Spice Garden is a beautiful space out here in what do you call it, in Batu Fringi. I don't know how much you know about Penang, but
Yes.
it's a beautiful space for families, for children to walk and hike up, and with their abundant plants of different spices to look at, and the creatures and the
Mm.
animals. We just every weekend we take our nice 1.5 hour dance out in the deck of the Spice Garden at the pavilion in the gardens. And sometimes, I mean, now
Mm.
because of the situation, we
Wait.
do it online. So
Oh, okay, okay.
so just working out with people online, and only just this past 2 weeks we've had like physical walk in person, so one or two, so they'll be like
Oh,
standing
okay.
in front of me, and I'll be conducting class,
So
but
now
yeah.
you are allowed to go out lah, like as in like to do all these activities
Yeah, with
in
with with
person.
the keeping your distancing, and
Okay.
activities for health and fitness and dance, and can be categorized as that. I mean,
Yeah.
when we're out there and we're exercising it together, whether it's no, whether it's arts or health, it merges. It's the same. It's for the
Mm.
body and for the soul. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's part of your work, right? Also this thing with uh started this whole spice garden thing that
Yes,
we
yes, yes,
do.
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
going back to
Yes.
the natural world.
No, I have to introduce you properly.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, so let me introduce Aida Redza to you guys. She has such a huge repertoire of work. So I have to introduce her properly. So Aida is one of the Malaysia's leading performance choreographers and performance maker, and she's currently based in Penang. She's a founder of Wind River Productions and an artist collective of Ombak Ombak Art Studio. She's known for her outdoor and on-site creations, which we will speak about it later, and then which brings her to work with closer to people to highlight stories concerning about their everyday life. She's also engaged in human rights, environment issues, safety and wellness of the community. She works with the marginalized women, mothers and children, and the special needs. Wow, I mean that's a lot of things also. Yeah, I understand that you actually work travel around the world like to to perform as
Oh, in the
well. Like
past, in the past, in the past, in the
yes,
past.
in the
No,
past.
no, but I'm back and based here in Penang. Yeah, since maybe 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago, I came back after my after my master's and stay in Holland and Denmark.
Mm,
I've come back to Penang, and Penang has been the place where I've been working before. I was commuting between Kuala Lumpur and Penang, based in KL, but coming back to work with my old guru, Janet Pillay, and with her, that was when I got pulled into working with young people in the community, and and developing works and what do you call it, creative art productions for the community to be performed in the outdoor. Yeah.
Right.
So it
That's how you
started
started.
in the early when I was back mid '96. That was when I was back from the States, and then I left. When I left, there was a long time, a period of 5 years where I wasn't in touch with with Penang, but then I decided to come back and got back pulled into again with working with the young people, but this time it was through arts education organization in Penang. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
That's how you.
question. And what was your question? Why did I decide to come back?
No,
No, not yet.
no, it's okay.
Oh, yeah.
No,
So,
you're okay.
regarding performing abroad and all that, yeah, I was touring with in a few projects. It wasn't what do you call it, extensive, but a lot was with theatre works and with Ong King Sen, and yeah, that took me off to Europe and stayed there for 4 or 5 years. But I decided that I mean, at the time I wanted to do my masters, and at that time I had my daughter. So I was a mother and managing, multitasking, juggling between being a mother, a student, and an artist. And that whole period of challenge, just by standing by myself and trying to make it on my own, kind of put me into a position where I remember, it's a memory of my family and having and their past about with facing challenges to survive, to make ends meet. I felt that kind of pull back and realized that I left that period of being an ordinary person and a human who's looking at these challenges. And I've left that because I'm so privileged as an artist, able to voice out about everything. And then when I'm this struggling mother with a child and trying to stand on my own, I felt that I needed to take a step back and look at arts and how I, how it can it can go back to being people driven, because, a kind of a way to speak about our challenges to survive current situations, our concerns that we're facing in our present time. Yeah, so that was a moment of switch. And so in 2009, I came back and connected back again with arts ed, and we started off. I mean, connecting back with Janet, we established Ombak Ombak, and with an artist collective, and through them this work with community place-based people site came back into my way of working. Yeah. All right. So I I just left the international stage, if you can say it that way, in terms of touring, and also stages in Kuala Lumpur. I made that choice to stay in Penang, also because of my situation with my at that time custody, fight and divorce. I had to be in Penang, so I made that choice to be here. Yeah.
And you speak about working with mothers and children, and I understand that recently you have done something with uh, the mothers and children.
Yeah. So when I came back, of course, I'm saying this like coming back like twice now. In 94 coming back from the States. I worked shortly at the National Arts Academy, and then what do you call it? Was an independent artist and founded a group called Shakti Dancers. Together with Shakti, we were creating works that supported, NGOs or groups that were fighting for social causes, not as physically in the administration, but creating works. That means creative projects or performances in support of rights and environment, etc. So I mean, I was busy doing that with Shakti. Not extensively, but most of the time that was how we were. Our mission was. And coming back in 2009 to Penang, I wanted to go more into that, but I didn't want to just be the creative, to do art in support of that cause. I wanted to know the inside working of being an activist, although I'm a passive, I'm not vocal in that sense. I can't stand in the front line and going, but of course I can carry the play cards. But I wanted to know the inner workings and, how they structure their methods and approaches, and who is their contact, the ground roots community that they're working with, So being a mother and very much into the natural way of nurturing and raising my children. Breastfeeding was very important to me, going back to the tradition of mother and child, and mother as homemaker, but yet now also homemaker artist. I really wanted to experience that, and I thought that as an artist, before, like when I was pregnant and having my first child, being an artist was very difficult, and it was not a open space, or if you can say, safe space for mothers as an artist. Because there's rehearsals, there's projects, and you can't bring your child being feeding. You feel like you can't leave your child out to do rehearsals and all that. So I was bringing my daughter and trying to to stand ground and be courageous enough to say, I'll come for rehearsal, but my child has to come with me. And not many mothers would do that. I think because, like, even at work you can't bring your baby, but lucky I'm an independent artist, so I could do that. But what I'm saying is, coming back and really wanted to want to represent mothers and women who still want to work and breastfeed. I then found this position at the World Alliance for Breastfeeding Action, and I said, okay, this is probably the sign that I need to come back and learn the inner workings of that and get more contact on the ground roots of mothers themselves, and see how arts can serve through an organization, other than me creating a dance and then offering it to them. I must understand the situation. So with them, I started to learn about the single mothers, groups that are working with women issues, and then connected with WCC, the World as a Women's Center of Change, and I got pulled in as how do you say, project personnel person, so and then they had me to lead the youth section. So that means producing creative art projects for the youth, so that they can go out there and raise and promote breastfeeding to the society and the community, but through art projects, and also new types of events to to make it more hip, breastfeeding and the youth and the young people. So that was how I got first into working more with ground. How would you say? The people that alternative. That are ordinary. We call it as ordinary, but they're doing extraordinary works. Yeah.
I mean,
So
what are some of the like breastfeeding taboos for mothers, over there? Like, what are some of the like um taboos, like or stigma for mothers breastfeeding?
stigma.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that you don't have enough milk.
Mm,
Your child will not be healthy. Uh, Not enough nutrition in it. And then you're working. You'll be difficult to go out and feed
mm,
the baby. You have to bottle feed. You have to change to powder milk. I mean, yeah, and then you have your freedom. Also, then there's this whole thing about, it's so it's not an open society to just
mm,
sit down out in the mall or in the garden
breastfeed.
and
Mm,
breastfeed. So a lot of mothers are, yeah, a little, and they're not interested to do it, or not that they're not interested, they want to but they can't, because there's no support for them, to say
yeah.
that, yeah, you can do this and we're there with you, what I mean. So yeah, applying this to the arts is the same also, kind of like, because as you can see, arts is for everyone and everyone can use it for their health and their well-being. And so I feel that if people don't know that you can use this to discuss your current challenges, then you don't have another platform to express your
Mm,
troubles. You know what I mean? Yeah,
mm,
yeah. So,
yeah.
so mm.
And usually, when you are creating works with them, you are also you use a lot of online on-site spaces as well, right? Like most of
Mm.
your work. Can you share with us some of the most
Yeah, that
interesting ones
came
that
that
you've
came
done?
of course came from what I mentioned about working with the young people and
Mm,
doing site, going on site. I wouldn't call it like really specifically site specific at that time. It was on site, meaning we go to the schools. This is in the early years, or at least mid 90s, going into schools, working with the children there, creating projects, and then putting it to productions and etc. etc. But I believe, I mean, because I've been always been surrounded with nature as a young child, and growing with nature, and I always love sites, I mean, to make stories, to look into memories of the past in the space. So that has been in my heart. It only became even more when I yeah, after the States, suddenly
mm,
being exposed to the beautiful mountains and landscape, and then really, I think that was the start for me to see, oh wow, site specific works. I mean, we in the 90s, we hear about it, but we don't actually see it. And that was my first exposure. And coming back to Kuala Lumpur with Shakti, we did several projects outdoor, and for me to reconnect and to find the deep-seated equilibrium already that we have with the site.
mm,
It becomes, yeah, just instinctual, like it is in your instincts. And how do we build this in performance? It is in our instincts. We can, because we were outdoor people, creatures in
yeah.
that way.
It's,
Yeah,
it's part of us, right? Yeah.
it's part of us. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm,
So then I think in yeah, when I came back 2009, and with the setting up of Ombak Ombak, we went full force with doing on-site works, and at that time, of course, creating and then putting. I mean, there are two ways, of course, the methods, right? Processing it there, and then going back studio, making it, and then putting it back again. So that was the early years. And then I actually, when I came back, also with being a mother, and then I already had my second child, I wasn't so into performance myself. I wasn't on stage. And between 2009 to maybe 2015, I was more, working with people and putting them on stage, highlighting them. But 2015, I took that challenge and said, I'm going to produce Move by Paddy, and that was officially the time I went back on stage, in the sense that says, like,
mm.
all the time it was working for the youth, young, put them. I'll just appear at the back and camouflage, but camouflage behind them, and do just short happenings. But 2015 was moved by Paddy, and that was when I started, except for now 2 years of MCO, but I managed to perform a little bit. In the 50s, you start to slow down. I don't know, maybe I could be
No.
performing till, like in the 90s, I think. Or, there are great performers and choreographers in Indonesia also who's like still performing in the 80s and 90s. So anyways,
Yes, of course.
so we still have
No,
time.
I saw one of your videos. Sorry, wait. Okay, are you there? Yeah, okay. No, I saw one of your video performing. It was awesome. The one with the I think it's a traditional art form. You had a festival in Japan, right? It's a collaboration or something.
With the Spafa, what was it? Spafa?
Yes, correct. Oh no, yes,
Yeah, my memory is
yes,
also that line
yeah.
like you.
Two of us. It's morning. It's the morning. Yes. So yeah, that one was really interesting because it's like between is it was it it's not no, right, but it's a different kind of what's that that
Are you talking about me and the Shizuka
yes,
University, or the one with
yes,
the performing arts? University.
I
Well,
think
I mean,
so, yes.
yeah. My engagement or involvement or introduction to No was through again theatre works and the Flying Circus project, and I made good friends with now Master Naoko Umiwaka. And at the time, before I went off, I wanted to further, and do a research in my master's with into no theatre, but I didn't manage to do it because then there was the personal situation, etc., etc. But yeah, so we've been friends, and No has been, in my way of working, even though I had, maybe how do you say 3-4 months of intensive working in the form through the production, and of course we reinvented from it. So it's been in the blood lah, if you can say it, in my body in terms of when I'm on stage. Yeah, so you saw that, and it was
I
we
saw a
brought
lot
it
of your
again
videos.
2017 and 2018. We brought him here, and we collaborated in the Italian restaurant and also in trance. Yeah. So that was
Yeah,
my stint to come back on stage, just for
I'm
sure.
back. They're coming back.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I want to talk about the youth actually because I understand that you also had a project that I think is this group of youth that is staying in one whole block, right? Where
The
you
Sungai
work with
Pinang
them.
project. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
right, yeah,
yeah.
yes,
That was
that, yeah.
under Arts Ed. Yeah, that went on from 2012 to 2014, and we were going in, and out for a bit, and then going. But it was an ongoing project. Why we go out is like to give time, and then go in again to start up. To continue with the same kids and some new ones. So it was nice to see some of the ones that stayed on growing, and in fact, one of them is part of another community project that we've been doing that's stalled right now, but we're starting it up again. It's nice to be able to work with young people in one space, living
Yeah,
space,
right.
and see how they progress, right?
Mm.
Having this introduction to arts, and then using it to talk about their living space. Yeah.
What are some of the backgrounds of these young people?
Yeah,
Like,
so this is how do you say, high density, low cost flats, and most of them are children of low middle income parents, with what do you call it, with very little, how do you say, spaces, platform to connect through creative arts, right? There's very little opportunities actually in schools or in our community. So we worked with them. What do you call it? Like for 3 months, twice a week, and we used the little hall in the residence, the flats, and did our works and process there, where the other people are able to see, the other residences are able to see, and we brought them to look into. Not that we brought. I mean, we went with them and researched on what would they like to express about living in this flats, and and they chose to talk about the safety of the residents, the safety safe spaces, and the clean space, about the cleanliness in the of the spaces. That was what they wanted to talk. So then we went on with that, introducing all the skills, and from the skills they started to create their own works. And this is one thing, the process that we've been using, that although we introduce the skills, but in the end the children are the one who create how they want to, in terms of their forms and body, how would they like to present their stories. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that one actually. It's really interesting, like where a group of them but they know each other as well, like most of the kids do.
They kind of know each other. I mean, of course, what do you call it? They became closer in the project, and what do you call it? But some and then we start to know some of their family backgrounds, and their problems, their personal worries, and of course I'm the teacher, so they share it through our not organizers, the persons who are facilitating it, and so I'm the artist, and then they talk to the facilitators, but then of course it comes back to me, and then I'll kind of like quietly use it to get feedback from them, or their thoughts. Then we start to create those works. So it's like this kind of constant work between us, and getting to know them is so. Anyways, it's a great project to do that, and to be able to work with them on the ground, like, because like you say, when we are in a studio base or theater space, we invite and people who can pay for these classes, they come, so you get the more how do you say, more informed children coming for your lessons or your workshops and projects. But this going to their spaces where they feel comfortable, where they feel like, oh, I'm not intimidated, I don't know this, I don't know the arts in this theater black box kind of a thing, but I'm in my space, so I feel more confident to speak about, so I like that kind of arrangement. And as I said, we've been doing that. So this Sungai Pinang project for 4 years was a good research also for Arts Ed to, start to structure their methods and approaches and analysis on the development of the young people there. So
like is there like any challenges, like I'm sure there is, like maybe any challenges when you are working with a certain community? What are some of the challenges you face?
Well, I mean, just say if I wasn't going under Arts Ed, it would not have been something easy for me to just initiate like that. The same thing with all the projects that we're doing here. If we didn't have someone organizing it and producing it for the artists, we will never be able to do it. So I really like to take my hat off. I mean, these are the things that we like to do, but we really cannot, as an artist, go out and just do it by ourselves. That's the greatest challenge, and you want to. So even if I start, then I have to start small scale, and I kind of like have to invite people, and and then then only you can do, and you can manage it on your own personal funds. But things like this, where you have an organization like Arts Ed, those things are worked out for you, so that challenge is taken off your shoulder. But working in the space is difficult because, I can tell you for one is that there is the different groupings of people,
Right.
the Chinese, Malay, Indian, and then after, you get more of the other, like the Malays, and then you don't get enough of the Chinese. If you get more of the Chinese, you don't get the Malay. Yeah, so that's normal, I would say, in Penang, lah, at least as far as I see it. Um, um, but also the challenge of getting them committed to the project, because they come and go, and sometimes family becomes what do you call it, interferes or influences the children. Like if this family is not happy with the other family and the children are playing downstairs with us, then they'll like come and say, no, we don't want her involved because we don't want
Right. Okay.
mixing with
All
this
these
boy,
politics
whatever.
are like families.
Yes,
Yeah.
but you have to work with it and try. And also sometimes, I mean, if we had an open theme, I would also say, hey, let's go into that and let's do a little choreography about this trouble, this conflict thing about the family. Of course, it's too sensitive. You can't do it openly. I mean, then they'll be even bigger. But so all these are also challenges. You have to be subtle. You see
Yeah.
something, maybe how do you use it into the creation, but not be too obvious and didactic, or
Yeah.
too telling and teaching.
Must be very sensitive
Yeah,
while you
yeah, yeah,
go. Yeah.
yeah. And what do you say? I mean, the environment also is a bit challenging, of course. People, they feel shy, because peers are walking, parents, family walking, so they start, if anyone comes, they get worried, or and we feel, yeah, we have to be sensitive about the space when we come in, also not to come in, we're like, oh, we're the artists, and we're,
Yeah. Right.
into the site.
And all this
So
takes time
to
also,
consider.
building
So
that
that's why it was a
system.
long project, 2012 to 2014, to just build that relationship and trust with the community and the parents, to allow their children to join us. Because they're coming like, what are you all doing here? What kind of dance is this? Oh, the most important is like, what kind of dance are you doing? A traditional dance or whatever? No. We are, creative. We want the children to find their own body language. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, to express themselves. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's nice. I mean, of course, now also I'm working with the special needs, and as you know, with the ladies, I wanted to go more, really drive into the single mothers, but I'm using now my group of ladies, I call them, in my class, to kind of test out, test out, and maybe attract you know more from
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
community to join us. So I do work with senior women, and sometimes a single mother would join us, and yeah, using that, like I said, we did Mengimbau at Spice Garden. That was my most recent work. And then I work with special needs also, just like I said, I mean, providing a platform, but I'm initiating it, so I have to make it small, and it will take time because we're
Take time to grow. Yes.
yeah,
Uh,
to work with
when
them.
you when you talk about single mothers and women, I understand you also does a lot of intergeneration work
Yeah.
with these women. Like, yeah,
Yeah, but
and
most of the works that I do, I like to include that, where seniors and younger performers or non-performers are working together, so that they have an exchange, of course, in experience, but also a kind of like nurturing relationship, collaboration, because I feel the youth or young people can get a bit intimidated when there's older people in the group, and also it gives a nice space for the older seniors, because when it comes to performance, sometimes we think, oh, there's no space, there's no place for senior citizens to be performing. There's not
yeah, yeah,
opportunity, right? So I mean, all this is what what I try to push for in my production, to have go for it. I want a strong, very well trained dancer next to someone who's maybe not able or disadvantaged, and then see how they work together, and it's that giving and take collaboration that is very important to me, to kind of platform and show to screen it or present it for the larger society to see. Yeah. And it's not, like you say, not easy, because you really have to work with them and know them well enough first. So everything for
Yes,
me, like what I've been doing, is more about getting to know you. It's still at that stage, I'm
yes.
still getting to know you and you getting know
Yeah,
me.
getting to know you and also to build that, slowly build that safe space for everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And not everyone wants to talk about social issues in their when they're
Yes.
dancing. So you need to get that, kind of kawan-kawan, we say, who
Yes.
appreciate, and who thinks like you and feels like, yeah, it's what we want to
Mm,
do also together.
mm,
Yeah. Okay.
mm. So yeah, now I'm gonna ask you. So like, what are some of the advice that you can give us for anyone or for any emerging artist or anyone who wants to work with the community?
Hmm. Well, you were
Do you have any advice?
I thought you were gonna ask for, yeah, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, tell me.
No, I mean, what do you call it? Wha- Talking about intergenerational again, yeah, right?
Yes.
Just going back that way. Um, I feel a lot of youth have a lot to say, and they're really very, they're powerful. Actually, we go into their world. I mean, young people, you're young also. I feel like you're very intelligent and you've got a lot to say and to share. But when it comes to meeting with, yeah, those who are more senior and established, we just, feel a bit hard to
Correct.
express and connect, right? And that's how I found my space, Studio Pentas, with Hope as a space to bring in the youth to meet up a little bit. And this is when my activist side also come to meet up with established activists, so that they can talk and connect and work under them in some creative project that the young person feel they want to initiate, they want to produce, but they don't know how. So we arrange this kind of hope circles. Before MCO, we had 6 of it, together with my friends. Soon we organize hope circles where youth would come and sit and exchange, and get to know information from people who are out there fighting, or activists in different issues, so that they can, yeah, so they can create something, create a creative project together. And this, as I said, is the most important mission of Studio Pentas and Hope and myself. And like you say, what advice should I, would I like to share for young people? From having done that, I just feel like, was there any progress? Did anyone start up a new project after those 6 meetings? I would say not really, because again, if I was a body or organization that provide then this residency, this
Mm,
financial assistance, then I think, we can take them in to do a seed project, and then they can develop, so that's the next stage, right, that we have to think about. Okay, so if you want to push on and advise and help and support the young people to do things, then we need to also provide, a space, a safe space for them to work. Then brings back to, yeah, my advice for them is this necessary? I mean, like, it is necessary. Is this necessary for you? Okay, Wendy, if I ask you, do you need that to do your work? Because you said you want to go back into the community, you want to develop more, and but it's so hard. And yeah, is this what you need? Someone who says, we have a platform, we're going to give you a seed project and some funds.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. It is
Yeah, yes,
necessary,
it is
correct?
necessary. I mean, we have that. Yeah, yes.
So
Mm.
going back into space, right? Like you haven't asked that yet. Is it important for an artist to have a space?
I
Yeah,
mean, we
that was
have all these questions, but
going
we are
to go
trying to
back. Like I said, oh, she's
go with the
asking me to
flow.
advise the young people, but we haven't talked about how important is a
Yeah.
space for an
No,
artist, right?
because we have to leave some questions for Q&A. So are we no, never mind. Yes, yes. Please carry on, Ida.
uh, so I mean, for you, yeah, it's important to have this and to have I want to say, like, there's this thing about, you say whatever it is in life, we need to have a master first, learn from the master, be an
Yes,
intern with the master, and then we can grow and
let
start
go.
off, right? But always respect and always acknowledge and appreciate your master and stay on to it, not jump from master to master, right? I mean, that is the traditional or the way we all see it too. But I think sometimes there are strong youth also who can be the master. That means, if you feel like you're working with someone that is already very, have a strong vision and all that, and have the skills to share with you, then work with them. And I feel, which we all are doing, this platform is important, of course, for the funders to see that the worth in their works, and say, here, we will come to you and we'll give it to you. I dislike this idea of all this funding group. Send me your proposal and we will look at it and we will send it to you. It's so
Yeah,
annoying. It's
yeah, it is.
horrible. It's
It is.
horrible. So I feel, yeah. So so you always, those who choose to work with masters, I feel like it's good. It's important we do that, but we cannot always wait to be spoon fed, like, what I mean, and wait to receive and beg. Can I
Yeah.
have this so I can grow and start up my own thing?
Yeah,
Same with
just do it, man.
organization, right? But yeah. I mean, what do I advise young people? This, I mean, take that challenge. You yourself have strong youth leaders with better vision than the older person like me lah.
Mm.
Orang tua, I said, my ideas might be so outdated, you know what I mean? But for
No, that's
me,
not.
although I'm not a funding organization, I have to try to put myself now from an artist into more of this administration production thing and get that funds to give to people. But I don't want to do this where I say, send me your proposal. I want us in a circle. And if you say you have something, let's work together
Let's
and get
do it. Let's talk and just work. Yeah.
Let's do it, even if it's simple. Let's do it. It's the same when I'm working with my ladies. Like, every time it's like, never mind, not ready. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We can do it. We can get there. Don't
Yeah.
worry. We'll do it.
Yeah.
So simple.
Yeah.
Even if it's like, they're basic. They're still in their learning stage. You will never get the experience if you don't ever get a platform to be out there and show, presenting it. You need that
Mm.
opportunity. Even and sometimes I also don't like when artists say, all this community work, no standard, and you're not in the festival level, you're
Yeah.
part-timers, you're volunteering, why should we put you into a festival stage, right? I mean,
Yeah.
of course we understand them, but can we have a little like on the side fringe or something, where
Yes.
you say these are for those who are still in process and in progress and working to develop it. Give them a stage. We need the practice.
Agree. Yeah, I
Practice is
agree.
very important too. you
Yeah,
know
right. Yes.
so that's
Yeah.
what
I think it's really interesting when you talk about space and platforms, right? Like, yeah, just like how, like, like, again, substation, we have no space right now. And yeah, so how important are, like, space to us as an artist? Yeah.
yeah. So how are you all? How are you all?
I don't know. I
Uh,
have no idea.
so is it? I mean,
Yeah,
and I can imagine in Singapore spaces are kind of expensive in a way.
it
Is
is.
it?
It is. Yeah, and
Like
it's like I think we talk about this before. Also, like on-site spaces, you can't just perform anywhere outside. Like that. Yeah, you need to apply for license or even for shoots or anything. That yeah, you can't just go out there and do what you want.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. Mm,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a good thing we're in Little Penang. I'm not
mm,
very sure about the other parts of Malaysia, but we can seems like at this point, of course, you work together with that spaces, as long as those spaces are established and registered, etc. It's okay, of course. Then if you're suggesting and saying I want to do something, you can always go ahead and arrange it. Going outdoor and performing, there was a time where we were doing that, me and a team of friends. We say, okay, we're just gonna go out and do a happening on site, without having to go and get permit. And we did that because busking is still allowed. I mean,
yeah.
anyway, I'm not sure in
Everywhere, right?
Singapore.
Everywhere.
In Singapore, you have to kind of like
No, you
register.
have to apply. Yeah, you have
Yeah,
to register. Yeah.
yeah, it is kind of like this, but you can still there are still opportunities of just popping up,
Right.
different places, and we do that in Penang. We're still like a cowboy town, I was telling you, but anyway, don't tell that to the Penang state. On the but yeah, if I feel like, hey ladies, let's go to the beach and we're just gonna present for the people there on the beach, and if we want to say, okay, open anyone on Facebook, social media, everyone, we're going to be here at this time, come and join us, it's okay,
Wow.
we will do it. Yeah, and that's the best part of being here in Penang. You can just pop up somewhere and do something sometime. Well, not during this time though, not the last 2 years.
All this time.
Or 1 year
Yeah.
plus 1.5 year. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's a good thing, and like you say, it's important to have this possibility, not because it's for, do you have this word in Singapore, shock sendiri? I don't know if you have it, we have it
Yes,
here.
yes, yes,
It's not about
yes.
shock sendiri, I mean,
Yeah,
because
yes.
going back into, how do you say, in the past, when there was the theater rakyat, I don't know if how to explain that, people theater, people dance,
Okay. Is it
uh, you just go
like
out and I mean, like if you have a festival or celebration, wedding or
right?
whatever, and you just call these people and they just perform, and it's part of the community and they join in,
Community theater. Yes.
yeah, they join in and they be part of that performance, or the dance. I like that. I feel like, because it was a tradition maybe for us,
Mm,
and where did it go? How did it disappear? Why did we forget that? It feels
yeah.
very comforting, just to know your neighbors and to work together. I mean,
Yeah.
progress always, like, yeah, wipes out all these practices.
Correct.
Um,
Correct.
so most of my work is about going back to the rakyat, to the people. Come and join my
Mm,
circle. The steps we try. I mean, of course, I have this conflict of, I'm an artist, so I want to make some change, or we call it change, like, oh wow, amazing,
yes.
study of movement and choreography, of course. But then I still go back to, you are a person, what is your choice of dance? How do you know what is the
Mm,
language, what do you like to, if they say to me, I really like to joget, which is a traditional Malay joget,
mm,
then use that in our contemporary work, use that. Or I really, or they're thinking globally, just say, oh, I like this Bollywood stuff. Okay, because that's what
good.
they have now, and that's what we did with our Sungai Pinang kids also. They say, can we do a bit
Mm,
of Bollywood? I said, okay, as a contemporary artist, you'd be like, no Bollywood here. But sometimes you have to give in and say, okay, let's do that and see, how we can fit it in. Yeah, yeah. So again, places, spaces is also good to include the people there just on the spot,
yeah.
and how make your choreography or the piece accessible for them to join in. And I usually do that in a circle, kind of inviting them. And it's very important for me. Yeah, a place, that it is with the people, a space for us to work. To work as in a studio. We've never had that. I mean, Ombak also has never had a space. We would meet either in our houses, meet each other, or outdoor. Go and have a tea tarik or something together and do our meeting. But when it comes to, you have to rehearse, it's either, or if we are on site, we know the site and it's going to be a bit of site specific, then we will rehearse there and and train there. But if it's not, then we borrow lah, and we see in terms of our funding, enough money or not. Okay, enough money. Okay, we will approach this theater space that has a studio. Or if we don't have money, then let's go back to schools. Let's ask for school space. So
It's
working with
mobile also lah.
floorings that's not good. No super mirrors, etc. No sound system. Our own little radio. You know what I mean? So we've been working like that with Omba. And it's difficult. I can say it's a big challenge because you grow, but you don't grow as a home, a place where everyone can come together and feel. You can put your things there, and your history, you build it together. And you're not, Substation is not the only place. I mean, in Malaysia, Five Arts also have moved out from their space, and after many years, and they also, you can talk to them about not having a space, now having to search again, or maybe they have found but they haven't moved in. So I think it's important for people, because you make a whole history together in a space, right? And you don't have to go around looking, and thinking of your funding and how much, because you already know that you have to make money to pay your rental. So, or the government should, or you get sponsorship to run your space, then you feel relieved. So I can concentrate only on my
But most of the time you can't just do that. You have
and
to
also
take
the
care of
spaces, whether it's safe for your people, to move around if you're doing rough floor works and the floor is so bad and dirty, it's like but all that is good anyways to develop the artist, because right now we don't have that tradition. I know in Japan that before you can start with your master, you have to clean the floors, first and do this thing, prepare your space, and we forget that also. I think it's good to bring that back in, that practice of and
it's what you say about going back to the roots, to the cultures, and this kind of thing I'm missing, which is really true. How progress was somehow all these things were forgotten. And,
it builds us as people and as friends, and collaborating and connecting with isn't it that relationship of working together. We call it in Malay, we call it gotong royong. Gotong royong, I don't know whether you all have that. Gotong royong, together we do this together. Building the house, home is very important, I feel. So I'm glad I have my studio pentas. I mean, we've been 1.5 years not having the possibility of growing more in the space, but we're back now and we have to get back to it full force. But it's been a relief to have this space, and it is given to us, not given, of course we were paying rent, but it was from the management that really wanted to help out with the art. So we're not paying very high, but it's still a burden, the 1.5 years of not using it. But I'm glad, and I want to keep it. We want to keep it so that it's not just for us, but also for the youth, so that they don't have to be looking. It's already difficult to get money to make your projects. You need a space where I can use it, because they understand us. They really understand. They want us to develop work. Anyways.
Then this COVID situation, how is it? How it affects you working? You're also working online as well, online, offline.
But online it's so hard. I mean, like yesterday I had the first time I just pulled some of my ladies to meet up again. We said, okay, let's try, let's go in and take the race. I mean, because everyone now is like worried, we still don't want to meet
Yes,
face to
yes,
face because we were, let's
correct.
do it. And what I really feel like, oh my goodness, was that the movement? Like they say, oh, I didn't know that was the movement. And we're doing it online because we're like, oh, is that to the right, is it to the left, we're turning,
Yeah,
and then when you are there face to face, they were like, oh my goodness, for these past 4 months I've been doing it wrong.
doing it well.
I thought, oh, this is how it is, and then how much faster it can go. Like,
It
wow,
can
and
be,
1/8 we
yeah,
can
yeah.
learn it in like short while, whereas 1/8 online is like struggle, struggle, struggle. What are you doing? Show again, show again. So being online,
Yeah,
yeah, and I don't know. I mean, there are many systems now. Of course, the schools and the performing arts department are still going on with their students, and probably what they're doing is the teachers record themselves and then send the video, and then you practice it at home. And then when we meet, you already got the steps, etc. So that's one system. I
right.
don't like to do that lah. I'm already like 50 plus with gadgets, etc. Really like cannot tahan. Cannot. So I mean, I like it hands on. So online we say, okay, let's do it. We learn it here and now. So I don't feel like it's yeah, online. It can work, of course it can work. Many people are doing it, and really, it's been
Yeah.
successful and really productive. But it depends on the person, the person and your choice.
Mm.
My PSG classes have been great, because then I'm really getting beginners, like, like new
Yes.
at the form, so I can really go slow. But if you have like already advanced students, it's really not so challenging. I have
Harder.
to start rehearsals now. We've been doing rehearsals for our river project that's coming up. That
Oh,
also is
sorry,
like
sorry,
a river
sorry,
project.
Aida.
You lost me.
No, no, I have to interrupt you. I think we have to do some question and
Question,
answers now
Q&A,
because
are we over?
we have
Yeah.
a bit over
Okay,
time. So
can.
yeah, so sorry, Rasta.
Wow, we're talking
So
so much, and we were like nervous, like, oh, yo, what to say?
we
Maybe
are
I'm
so
much.
nervous.
It's boring.
Yeah.
Sorry, to those outside. Yep. Anyways.
So Raka has a question like, what triggered the shift? Can you see it from what triggered the shift from performing in elite spaces, as you once mentioned, to working with the community?
Yeah, I just feel I'm not reaching out enough to the everyday audiences, in the theater black box, and I always, that's why I'm so poor, because I always hate to charge people. I really don't know. That's why I leave it to the production team and the producer. You charge. Don't tell me about it. I don't want to know. And
Not to
anyways,
do with the
yeah,
money.
yeah, yeah.
The
So I
money.
just wanted to. Yeah, I think we move too much now to our, the people who can afford too much. Well, it's my personal opinion. It's not what
Mm,
others are
mm,
saying, but
mm.
and and always it's friends, friend, oh, my friend,
I agree.
and
I
people who
agree. Yeah.
support you, and then the ones who don't get to see you, who's that everyday, in the market, the working
Mm,
class really have the opportunity or the option to spend money to come into these elite spaces, theater festivals, etc. So it's been my mission. I think it's my calling that I go out
mm,
and serve it
mm.
to those who are not privileged, able to join us and all. Yeah. Okay.
I I agree. Yeah.
Mm.
Actually, I also have been like I'm with this community theater called Tapestry Playback Theater for a long time. So playback theater also does like well, it's actually improvisational theater, but we actually share stories, tell stories from the community
Mm.
for the people. So it's
Mm.
like stories given from them, and then we play back their stories. So
Mm.
it's really interesting when you go into the space and hear from their perspective. Yeah. Mm. Okay, one more question. I will show.
More question? She's reading the private chat. One more question. Okay. Any more?
Okay. So if money is not a factor, what is a dream project and dream project experience that you would like to create or curate?
Wow, that's yeah. If money is not a factor, it's hard to say, right? If money, meaning if I had it anyways, I've been funded and
Yeah.
not a factor. What would I do? Of course, I mean, I would like personally to still work towards making an inclusive project and having a production that brings people together, whether able or not, or not, whether if it includes fishermen and a
Oh.
dancer, or includes a farmer
Mm.
and a professional actor. I would like to curate a piece to say, just the voices of what I'm doing right now,
Mm.
stages of semangat. That means the spirit of
Okay.
resilience, of the different types of resilience of being person, of being working, living, surviving through different
Mm.
conditions, and
Mm.
taking it up to a festival platform. Because
Mm.
yeah, well, I mean, because you would think, yeah, unless if it's done really, professionally, not voluntary, not community level, then only you get accepted, like, right? So I would wish that I can do that to a level where it can be presented on a festival stage, right? Having a
Yeah.
fisherman dancing.
That's wonderful. I love that
Mhm.
image, fisherman,
Yeah, yeah,
and yeah, beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I think we are done. Like no more questions.
Yay!
Whew.
Woo, like, oh, Wendy.
Thank you, Ida.
Thank you so
Oh.
much, everyone, for tuning in and listening, and
Yeah,
thank you for the conversation.
thank you. Yes,
Yeah,
thank you so much for joining us. And yes, so that's it. Thank you,
have a
Ida,
good
for
day.
sharing.
Have a good day. Take
Yes,
care.
yes. Yes, you have a good
And
day
let's
too.
hope
Take
the
care.
borders open up so we can visit each other again.
Correct. Yes, yes. I would love to meet you.
Yep.
Yes. And
Okay.
okay, so everybody, please stay safe and join us next week. Also, we have a Sunday. Next week we have Subas and also the migrant band Viddsee, I think. Yes. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.
Bye.